Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So this is the second video for the series of the saltwater tank. And in the last episode, I talked a little bit about what I'm going to be putting into this tank. And I decided to put in a moray eel. So I'm still deciding whether to put one big moray eel in there that goes up to like 5 feet, like a tessellata, or some smaller eels like Japanese dragon morays. They look really cool, very expensive though, but look really cool, and they go up to like 3 feet. So in this video I wanted to talk to you about or show you how I'm setting up the interior of this tank specifically for eels, because there's some tips and tricks that you can employ that make it a lot better for these eels. So the first one is down here. So you can see that I'm going to be putting in basically a pipe system, a tunnel for them. And the diameter here is 4 inches, just in case I do decide to go with a big eel like a tessellata that not only get 5 feet long, but also really big in girth, so they get really thick. And the way I'm going to put this together is that no matter where the eel sticks this head out from this tunnel system, they will always be facing the viewer. So they will never be, hidden away if they're in here, if they come out to, grab food or whatever. So yeah, this is PVC piping. Picked it up at Lowe's, and also have some 4-inch piping to connect these ends here, and these two, and these two. So when it's all done, I think I don't even need to glue these together. I think I can just stick them together, and that should hold them actually, because I decided to actually put in sand in here, and I'm going to try to cover this entire pipe system with sand. That means since this is a 4-inch diameter pipe, I have to put in at least 4 inches of sand, if not more. So that's a very, very deep sand bed. And but this, has some challenges, but also gives me the opportunity to put in some nice, critters that live in the sand. So yeah, I'm excited for that. For the sand, I decided to use pool filter sand because it's only $20 for 50 pounds. It's super clean, it's bright white, so it will be a cost-effective way, of scaping this tank. And then for rock work, I decided to purchase something called base rock, and here you see actually 200 pounds of it. So that cost $83 for 40 pounds, and I bought it at Petco. So I'm going to be, coming up with creative ways to, provide some rock structures for the eel. If it is a tessellata and it gets 4 inches thick, I have to make sure that he can, move through and not get stuck. So that will be a little bit challenging. So that will mean I have to build, some arches. And the way I'm going to be doing that is mostly with this a 1/4 inch diameter PVC tubing. So basically you drill holes in here, a hole, stick one end in, another hole in another rock, and then attach it to it. So you can basically build arches. And this will provide more room for a bigger eel, to snake his way through. So this will take a while, but hopefully, will end up looking pretty good. And I think that's pretty much it. So the pipe system, to have, a really nice spot for one eel. If I have two, the other one could be in the rock work. Or if I have just one big eel, then he can have it all to himself. And I think he'll be really, really happy. Okay, I will get going, and we'll provide you an update soon. Oh, when it comes to the endings of these pipes, I was not really able to find something that would perfectly cover this. So I had to purchase this piece here, and this will go in here like this. And then in order to prevent the sand to go inside, I basically just have to add a ton of glue, like silicone, and then dip this whole thing in some of the sand. So basically create a nice, natural looking wall or, cover for this pipe system. And on the other end, I probably use some foam that is used for gardening applications as well. Even though it's black, it won't matter because you will never see it when this is covered here. And because one problem that I may encounter is that from here going this way, there's going to be a lot of waste accumulating, so the eel will go up here. And yeah, so that's something I have to keep in mind. But other than that, this should be really straightforward. We'll be sawing this piece into smaller chunks, connecting the pipes, and then we'll pour it into the tank, and then we will take a look. Okay, so the pipe system is finally done. And as you can see, I ended up not using this piece right here, and that is simply because for whatever reason, even though this is a 4-inch pipe and this is a 4-inch pipe connector, it doesn't want to fit. So that really sucked. But I just decided to go to Lowe's last night and get this PVC connector. And actually, this is not too bad. I mean, it's in the back. Even though it's black, it won't show it because a lot of rock will be covering it. And also, it is actually better not to make this piece too long, because then I can put some rock over this side. And I also want to leave some space so I can use an algae scrubber. And yeah, so I think this is going to look pretty good. And next step will be to take this out and put it into the garage where the rock is and start building, rock formations around this. And then I can put it all in a tank, and then we will add the sand, and then this should be all there is to it, to the internal scape. Okay, here's a quick update on the setup of the interior. I decided to place some rock around the pipe before I building the rock work further. And in order to make sure that they don't slide around when I stack more rocks on top, I decided to put in the sand. And what you see in here is 100 pounds of white pool filter sand. If you're interested in knowing which sand I bought, I got it on Amazon. And this is what it's called. And it was $20 for a 50-pound bag. So that's a pretty good deal. Okay, some of the rock work is now in the tank, and you can see that I'm trying to create pretty large openings, since the eel that's going to be living in here is probably going to be a larger one. And yeah, so the heaviest pieces are on the bottom with the biggest openings, and then the rest of the rocks that are a little bit smaller will be on top with smaller openings. Probably for some, shrimp or whatever else I can keep with the eels that doesn't get eaten. So I'm finally done with the interior, and you can see that I create some really big caves, since I'm not sure if I'm getting a bigger eel. And so I wanted to make sure that if I do, he decides to stay in the rock work, that he has, plenty of openings everywhere, to be comfortable and be able to move around. And then, of course, the pipe system, 3 openings, each one facing the viewer. So this will make it easy to, see how they're doing or how he's doing. And yeah, I'm about 1 bag short of sand. This is white pool filter sand, as mentioned before. So I'm waiting on that, but I will already begin adding the water, and then begin working on the sump, and then begin the cycling, and then hopefully pretty soon we can welcome the eel. So here is the final outcome, and as you can see, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I think eels are going to like it. So I have, the sea-based shelf rock, and then here I added some live rock from my clownfish tank, and all of that, live rock will hopefully speed up the growth of the beneficial bacteria. I also added some bacteria from Microbacter, I think it's called XLM. And that will also help with the growth of the bacteria. Here you see a bag of 2 pieces of shrimp. that will also produce ammonia as they decay and feed the bacteria. And I actually, usually people say to turn off the lights when you have a new tank, but I think I'm going to also be picking up some crabs from the person who is selling me the eels, and I want them to have something to graze on, hopefully if there's some algae already grown until then, because otherwise they have really nothing to eat. So yeah, I think it looks pretty good, and next step will be setting up the filtration and to get this flowing properly, and the bacteria to disperse properly in the tank. And yeah, I think this has come out really well. As mentioned before, we have multiple openings, big openings for potentially larger eels, and we have a pipe system 4-inch in diameter. And I didn't want to stack this too high, mainly because I didn't want to buy even more rock, because the higher you build, the easier things can topple down too. And I also wanted the eels to have, the bottom half of the tank to basically be, in their homes, in their, in their little caves or whatever. And if they want to swim, they have, all this upper area to swim around, It's not a whole lot, I guess, but eels usually live in the rockwork, mostly in swim out, only at night, I think, a little bit. But I think, yeah, this swimming area will suffice for them. And yeah, so thank you again for following along for this episode. And the next one we'll be covering filtrations for eels, in particular, very large animals that produce a lot of waste. And for that, we need to have a really efficient, filtration system. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.